टू बी यूनिवर्सिटी स्टेटस हमने पढ़ लिया था, तो इट वॉज डीम टू एनसीईआरटी को मिल गया, बट इट इज डिक्लेयर बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट अंडर सेक्शन 3 ऑफ द यूजीसी एक्ट ऑफ 1956 एंड एनएमसी नेशनल मेडिकल कमीशन गेट्स WFME रिकॉग्निशन फॉर 10 ईयर. ओके, WFME रिकॉग्निशन हो क्या है? वर्ल्ड फेडरेशन फॉर मेडिकल एजुकेशन. वर्ल्ड फेडरेशन फॉर मेडिकल नेशनल मेडिकल काउंसिल इज India's regulatory body overseeing medical education and practice. ये एक statutory body है. It was constituted by the National Medical Commission Act of 2019. World Federation for Medical Education grant recognition status to individual accrediting agencies that meet the World Federation for Medical Education recognition criteria. That way, it will enable the Indian medical graduates to pursue PG trainings in other countries that require World Federation of Medical Education recognition, US, Canada, etc. नेक्स्ट बात करते हैं. ऑल द 706 एग्जिस्टिंग मेडिकल कॉलेजेस इन इंडिया विल बिकम वर्ल्ड फेडरेशन ऑफ मेडिकल एजुकेशन accredited. New medical colleges that will be set up in the next 10 years, they will automatically get accredited. It will enhance the quality as well as the standards of the medical education in India. Quality बढ़ जाएगी, standards बढ़ जाएगा. It will enhance the quality and standards. Okay, it will align the medical education with the global best practice and benchmark. Make India an attractive destination for the international student. Make India an attractive destination for the international student. Make India an attractive destination for international student, aligning medical education with global best practices. World Federation for Medical Education. It was established by WHO and the World Medical Association in 1972. It is a not-for-profit NGO concerned with the education and training of the doctors, whose mission is to strive for better healthcare for all mankind. Education, training, better healthcare for all mankind. It aims to enhance the quality of the medical education worldwide. क्वालिटी बढ़ जाएगा, एक्सेसिबिलिटी बढ़ जाएगा, कंसर्न विद एजुकेशन ट्रेनिंग, स्ट्राइव फॉर बेटर हेल्थ केयर. ओके, आयुष्मान भाव कैंपेन. इट इज अ कोलैबोरेटिव एफर्ट स्पीयर्डेड बाय द ग्राम पंचायत टू एक्सटेंड द कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव हेल्थ केयर कवरेज टू एवरी विलेज एंड द टाउन. इसमें 3 कंपोनेंट्स हैं. आयुष्मान आपके द्वार 3.0 टू प्रोवाइड आयुष्मान कार्ड टू remaining eligible beneficiaries enrolled under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, Ayushman Mela, to facilitate the creation of the health IDs and issuance of the Ayushman Bharat card, Ayushman Sabha to raise awareness about the vital health scheme and disease conditions. Okay, next topic is science and technology. Aditya L1 mission is successfully launched the India's first space-based observatory glass solar mission to study the sun on 2 September to study the sun. On 18 September, ISRO successfully performed Trans-Lagrangian Point 1 L1 insertion maneuver. This marked the beginning of the spacecraft about 110 trajectory to the destination around the L1 anchorage. Also, the suprathermal step instrument, suprathermal and energetic particle spectrometer. This is a part of the Aditya solar wind particle experiment. Aditya solar wind particle experiment payload has begun the collection of scientific data. Step comprises 6 sensors, each observing in different directions and measuring suprathermal and energetic ion. The data collected during the Earth orbit helps scientists to analyze the behavior of the particles surrounding the Earth, especially in the presence of a magnetic field of the Earth. The data collected during the Earth's orbit helps scientists to analyze the behavior of the particles surrounding the Earth, especially in the presence of a magnetic field of the Earth. Steps measurement will continue for the rest of the life of Aditya mission. Okay. Aditya solar wind particle experimenters step suprathermal energetic particle spectrometer instrument. Aditya L1 launch vehicle, polar satellite launch vehicle C-57 की 25th mission है using the polar satellite launch vehicle XL configuration. It is planned to be placed in a halo orbit around the Lagrangian point L1 of the sun's earth and know the term. Science objectives of the mission: study the solar upper atmospheric chromosphere, solar का upper atmosphere, that is chromosphere and corona dynamics. Upper atmosphere, chromosphere and corona dynamics, study of the chromospheric and the coronal heating, physics of the particularly ionized plasma, initiation of the coronal mass injection and the solar flare. It observes the in situ particle and the plasma environment, providing data for the study of the particle dynamics from the sun, identify the sequence of the process that occur at the multiple layer, that is chromosphere में क्या होता है, base and extended corona में क्या होता है, which will lead to the solar eruptive events. ड्राइवर्स फॉर द स्पेस वेदर की जो भी स्पेस वेदर होता है कि ड्राइवर्स क्या हैं. व्हाट इज द ओरिजिन, कंपोजिशन एंड डायनेमिक्स ऑफ द सोलर विंड. आदित्य L1 कैरी 7 पेलोड हैं, जिसमें से 5 इसरो के हैं और 2 बाय इंडियन एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूट के हैं. रिमोट सेंसिंग पेलोड, अब जैसे कि विजिबल एमिशन लाइन कोरोनाग्राफ, सोलर अल्ट्रावायलेट इमेजिंग टेलीस्कोप, सोलर लो एनर्जी एक्सरे स्पेक्ट्रोमीटर, हाई एनर्जी L1 ऑर्बिटिंग एक्सरे स्पेक्ट्रोमीटर, आदित्य सोलर विंड पार्टिकल एक्सपेरिमेंटर, Plasma analyzer package for Aditya. Papa. Plasma analyzer package for Aditya advanced triaxial high resolution digital magnetometer. बात करते हैं तो ये क्रोमोस्फीयर है, ये कोरोनल होल है, ये वाला, दिस इज़ कोरोना एंड दिस इज़ फ्लेयर्स. देन वी हैव सन स्पॉट, सबसे अंदर वाला इंटरनल स्ट्रक्चर कोर है. देन वी हैव अ रेडिएटिव जोन, वी हैव अ कन्वेक्टिव जोन एंड सब सरफेस फ्लोज फोटोस्फीयर. ओके, एक और पॉइंट है इसमें नोट देता हूँ. कोरोनल मास इंजेक्शन दी जाता लार्ज इरेप्शन. किसका इरेप्शन होता है? मैग्नेटाइज प्लाज्मा का. कहाँ से? सन्स के आउटर एटमॉस्फेयर, कोरोना से. दैट प्रोपोगेट्स आउटवर्ड इनटू द प्लेनेटरी स्पेसेस. सोलर फेयर की बात करते हैं. सोलर फेयर एक इंस्टेंट बर्स्ट ऑफ रेडिएशन है दैट कमिंग फ्रॉम द रिलीज ऑफ मैग्नेटिक एनर्जी एसोसिएटेड विद सन स्पॉट. दीज आर अवर सोलर सिस्टम्स लार्जेस्ट एक्सप्लोसिव इवेंट. यूनिकनेस क्या है इस मिशन की? इट विल प्रोवाइड फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम स्पेशली रिजॉल्व सोलर डिस्क इन द नियर यूवी बैंड. It will provide for the first time specially resolved solar disk in the near UV band, ultraviolet band में. It will provide information in the acceleration region of the coronal mass ejection which is not observed consistently. Onboard intelligence to detect the coronal mass ejection and the solar flares for the optimized observation and data volume. Directional and energy anisotropy of solar wind using multi-direction observation. About Lagrangian point. What? For a two-body gravitational system, the Lagrange points are the positions in space where a small object tends to be if put there. For a two-body gravitational system, there are total of 5 Lagrange points denoted L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. The Lagrange point for the Sun-Earth system are shown in the figure. Of the 5 Lagrange points, जो L1, L2, L3 है ये अनस्टेबल है और 2 L4 और L5 जो है ये स्टेबल है. Unstable Lagrange point lie along the line connecting the two large masses. Stable Lagrange point on the other hand they form the apex of the two equilateral triangle that have large masses at their vertices. Significant. These points in space for a two-body system such as Sun and Earth, they can be used by the spacecraft to remain at these positions with reduced fuel consumption. The Sun and Earth can be used by the spacecraft to remain at this position with reduced fuel consumption. Placing satellite around L1 gives advantage of continuous observation of the Sun without any occultation or eclipses. Mechanism. At Lagrange point, the gravitational pull of the two large bodies equals the necessary centripetal force required for a small object to move with them. Lagrange point में gravitational pull और दो बड़े-बड़े bodies equal the necessary centripetal force required for the small object to move with them. Other key information. Lagrange's points are named in honor of the Italian as well as French mathematician Joseph Louis Lagrange. Lagrange point L1 lies between the Sun and the Earth line. Distance of L1 from Earth is approximately 1% of the Earth-Sun distance. NASA और यूरोपियन सोलर एजेंसी यूरोपियन स्पेस एजेंसी एक जॉइंट सोलर हीलियोस्फेरिक ऑब्जर्वेटरी सैटेलाइट है. सोहो मिशन है. Solar and heliospheric observatory satellite mission. Solar and heliospheric observatory satellite mission is placed near L1 point while the NASA James Webb Space Telescope is placed around the L2 point. L1 में सोहो मिशन है और L2 में नासा का जेम्स वेब स्पेस टेलीस्कोप है. ISRO embarks on this ambitious journey. The mission embodies the nation's commitment to advancing scientific knowledge. Embarks on this ambitious journey, but is a nation committed to advancing scientific knowledge and securing its place on the global space exploration stage. Now we have a tidal locking. As the sun rises on the moon, ISRO is trying to wake up rover Pragyan and lander Vikram, which were put to sleep to survive the lunar night. As the sun rises on the moon, ISRO is trying to wake up rover Pragyan. As the sun rises on the moon. As the sun rises on the moon, ISRO is trying to wake up rover Pragyan and the lander Vikram, which were put to sleep to survive the lunar night. Chandrayaan 3 mission was solar powered and its landing was planned to coincide with the daylight period on the moon. Daylight. The annual temperature range on the moon is very high, making it difficult for the Chandrayaan 3 mission's electronics to withstand extremely low temperature during the lunar night. Therefore, the lander and the rover were put into hibernation a little before the lunar sunset. Reawakening would validate ISRO's lander rover technology for future space exploration. Impact of the lunar night. Shapes moon mission. Extremely low temperature make it difficult to keep the spacecraft system alive. Moon mission would need a non-solar supply of energy to allow them to survive the lunar night. Moon mission would need a non-solar supply of energy. Would all of them survive the lunar night? Lunar power sources, reactors, radioisotope power sources appear as the most promising candidate. 18 research. Since Moon does not have atmosphere to distribute heat, everything has its own unique amount of time to heat up and cool down. For example, lunar rocks take longer to heat up and cool down than the lunar soil. The differential heating and the cooling rate make it possible to identify the areas with lowest quantities of the rock. About lunar day, a mean solar day on the moon, that is lunar day, is the time the moon takes to complete one rotation on its axis with respect to the sun. One mean solar day on the moon is 29.5 Earth date. One mean solar day on Earth is 24-hour Earth day. Therefore, the daylight on the moon on lunar day would last approximately 2 weeks, followed by the approximately 2 weeks of lunar night. Okay, temperature on the moon. Daytime temperature near the lunar equator reach a boiling 250 Fahrenheit, while the nighttime temperature get to a chilly -2 to 208 Fahrenheit. This high diurnal temperature range is caused because of the absence of the atmosphere and the tidal locking of the moon with the earth. The presence of the atmosphere limits extreme temperature by transferring heat around the planet. Moon, Earth. Tidal locking refers to the synchronization between the moon's rotation around its axis with respect to the sun and its orbit around the earth. It happened due to the gravitational force exerted by the moon and the earth on each other. Consequences of the tidal locking: only one side of the moon visible. One side of the moon is always facing the earth, while the other is cloaked in perpetual darkness, giving rise to two sides of the moon. Near side, the proportion of the moon, about 60% that is visible from the earth. Far side, the proportion of the moon that is never visible from the earth. The far side of the moon is illuminated in sunlight. The far side of the moon is illuminated in sunlight during the new moon phase. जो far side of the moon होता है वो कब illuminate होता है? The far side of the moon is illuminated. The far side of the moon is illuminated in sunlight during the new moon phase, when the moon is invisible from the earth and continues to receive light for nearly a fortnight. The far side होता है. So thus it is dark only in the sense that it is various topographical features were hidden until the Soviet spacecraft Luna 3 in 1959 photographed it. Astronauts aboard the Apollo 8 mission in 1968 were the first one to see the far side of the moon. Distortion of the shape. The gravitational force that is exerted is always stronger on the sides facing each other. This force causes the bodies to stretch and distort. Earth's gravitational force deforms the moon, slightly squares at the poles and bulges at the equator. The same sort of deformation manifests itself in Earth's ocean, leading to the alternating high and low ocean tide. Slow rotation. The tidal torque slows down the spin of the planet. की वजह से उस टॉर्क की वजह से प्लैनेट का स्पिन रुक जाता है. व्हेन द मून फॉर्म्ड इट रोटेटेड मोर क्विकली देन इट डज टुडे. The earth is also slowing down, primarily due to the tidal interaction with the moon. Hospitability. High diurnal temperature range impact the potential hospitability on the moon. High diurnal temperature range impact the potential hospitability on the moon. Tidal locking in the universe. All the solar system large moons are tidally locked with their planet. All the solar systems large moon tidally locked with their planet. The bigger moons synchronize early in their existence in hundreds of thousands of orbits. Some binary stars are tidally locked to one another. Also, evidence is building that many planets beyond our solar system are tidally locked with their stars. ये टॉपिक नेक्स्ट पार्ट में पढ़ता हूँ.